Your house, your relationship. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. Truth, integrity, moving fast, and sound decisions. You have an apology problem. You are holding yourself back. Why are you afraid of rejection? Your partner's trauma is a gift. The hokey pokey is messing you up. Stop sending miles of text messages. Your house, your relationship. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. And today, I want to blow your mind. If you don't know, my wife is Gottman level 3 trained, and you constantly surprise me. She was telling me about something that the Gottmans teach, the sound relationship house. It's never really sat well with me. I won't really get into the details for that, but my wife loves it. But here's what she did. She started to flip it. It's like the house is upside down in order for you to live in it, for your relationship. So I would like today for you to explain a little bit about why, first of all, the sound relationship house is great, but why it doesn't work and why you flipped it. And then maybe let's give these guys some practical, useful steps to create a great relationship in their home.
Sure. Okay, great. I love the Gottman method, as you know. I'm always excited to talk about it. So when it comes to the sound relationship house, it's an actual diagram of a house, and it is foundational levels followed by more levels, and then trust and commitment are the pillars of the house, keeping the house stable. And so what the Gottmans believe is that the bottom level is, they call it building love maps, which is where you're getting to know each other's inner world and you're becoming best friends. And then we have sharing fondness and admiration is the second level. And the third one is bids and responses, bids for connection. So if you were a couple who you're both engaged and you go see a Gottman level coach or therapist. So he mentioned I'm level 3 trained. You would be looking at the sound relationship house, and you would be starting at the foundational level, which is, I call it be best friends. They call it building love maps. When you come into one of our programs, specifically my program, but I talk about it with the guys too, but, and this is where the tangible piece comes in. So I'll get back to it. When you come in and you're by yourself, so you're married or you're in a serious relationship, but you're both not engaged, you can't jump in at the bottom level knowing each other's inner world because it requires it to be reciprocal. You can't do it on your own. Okay. So I actually come in with level 3, which is bids for connection. And the reason that I do that is because you are in control of your bids for connection and you are in control of your responses. And so a bid is any attempt to connect. So it could be a smile, it could be a wave, some sort of body language, it can be speaking, it can be anything. It can be a text message, a phone call. It's any attempt to connect with your partner. You can do this very intentionally. It's not something that you have to do intentionally. Anything you do can be a bid. So there are things called fuzzy bids where your partner might be trying to connect, but you're not really sure. You know, if he just sighs, if he's in the kitchen, he goes, oh, he probably wants me to ask what's wrong. That's a fuzzy bid. Is he just sighing, or is he trying to get my attention? Is he trying to connect with me? And so when you're intentional about your bids, though, whether your partner is invested, engaged, interested in getting help, you can start connecting with your partner with purpose, with intention. And you can also be responsible for your reactions and your responses. How are you responding? Are you ignoring? So you have 3, there's turning towards, turning away, and turning against. Those are the 3 ways that you can respond. And there's different levels within those 3. Turning towards would be responding to them positively, at least, or even neutral. Turning away is ignoring, and turning against is responding with negativity or contempt. And contempt is one of the leading causes of divorce. The other cool thing is that we've talked about the cascade to betrayal, which is a list of 24 things that are scientifically proven to happen before a physical affair. The first one is turning away. So if you're not turning towards, you're turning away. Okay, so that's really important. So going in right off the hop in level 3, which is what I teach, you need to start showing your partner that you're trying to connect, that you're responding in a different way. That's going to start to build that connection back. After that, when your partner starts to realize that, hey, my wife is trying to connect with me, my wife is responding to me in a different way, my wife isn't ignoring me anymore, all things that you take for granted. You need to be responding to your partner. You need to be intentionally connecting with your partner. This person used to be your best friend and now probably isn't anymore. From there, I go down to the bottom level, which is, I call it be best friends. And this is when you're not just intentionally connecting. So you're not just putting forth bids, you're putting forth meaningful questions to start conversation, because let's face it, this person isn't your best friend anymore. Do you actually know what his favorite meal is? Do you know what his favorite color is?
I mean, guys, this is so important because I mean, I have to teach that with my guys too. Like, you can even start with like exactly what she said, like favorite meal, favorite song these days, favorite color could have changed. Everything has changed, and you guys have been so disconnected. This is so important to understand.
Yeah, and stressful things like who's bothering him at work or what is stressing him out at work. What about traffic? Does he have a hard time on his commute? Is there construction? Things that we know about each other. And because we're far past what we're teaching in these 3 levels, especially. But if you don't know these things about your partner, you can't be your partner's best friend.
I mean, I just heard you on a coaching call the other day with trying to get women to understand more about how they can become more interactive, right? And we were talking about this other client who, and I think it might have been the same couple, just this is months away from each other from when I was working with him, because now she's doing work. And I remember sending him a picture of some ducks on the side of the road for you, but I had to go find it and then send it to him and say, this is just an example of what I would do. Send a picture of the ducks to try to do it. Now, and
that's an attempt to connect.
Right.
He's sending me a picture of ducks on the side of the road because he knows I think that they're cute. So that's connecting.
That's right. I think that most of you have to realize, like, it's really hard and challenging if your partner's checked out, which is again why you've had to flip this, right? Like the Gottmans, it's all about like you have to both be in and going. But let's face it, most people say what they're supposed to say. They know what they're supposed. Yeah, I want to save this marriage. Yeah, I'm gonna do the thing. Or you got a partner who's completely saying "fuck you," it's over. So if that's where you're at, then go back to what we always talk about. Who are you going to be? Flip this house, and there's more to it. But you start to flip the order of how you do things because. Go back to last episode. You can't be insecure. You can't be anxious. You can't be full of fear. You have to actually know where you're going and create that life. Or else what would make your partner think about anything foundational in the relationship? You got to be somebody worth partnering with, somebody worth being a best friend. That's why I talk about impact so much and who you are. Your purpose can't be your family men. That doesn't work. When your wife's checked out, you have no fucking purpose anymore. That's why it's fucked. You know, when your kids move out, then what? You might, like when your wife leaves you and your kids are, you're going to go kill yourself because you have nothing left in life? God, no. You need to get a handle on this. Okay? Sorry, I interrupted. I hijacked.
That was pretty much it. There's one other thing that we do talk about a lot at the White Picket Fence Project. By the way, the White Picket Fence is what goes around the sound relationship house. It's also each picket is something that represents something that you can do as a woman within yourself that allows you to even get into the house. If you're not showing gratitude, compassion, empathy, performing self-care, all of these things, then you aren't even the person that you need to be in that house. So the White Picket Fence is literally the border around protecting the sound relationship house. But in the sound relationship house, one of the other levels, and I can't remember if it's level 4, is they call it the positive perspective. It's great to think that you need to have a positive perspective, but if you actually step back and say, okay, why am I not having the positive perspective? So many people are in something called negative sentiment override. So I call this wearing rose-colored glasses. And the reference I'll often compare is with your toddler. If you're a mom, you've heard someone say, catch them being good, because toddlers get told no all the time. And if all they hear is no, how are you going to reinforce positive behavior? How are you going to encourage them and have them feel loved? Well, catch them being good and praise them. Not to compare your husband or your wife to a toddler, although we've all acted like toddlers before. If you can intentionally catch your toddler being good, can't you intentionally catch your husband or your wife being good and praise and edify them? Because if you can do that, yes, you're in the positive perspective. Yes, you're wearing the rose-colored glasses. So that's what we say at the White Picket Fence Project. Put on your rose-colored glasses. You're intentionally getting out of negative sentiment override. And if you don't set your intention on getting out of it, your rose-colored glasses will never go on because you see all of the negative. You don't see the positive. And so you need to put on your glasses, catch them being good, because that's going to help reinforce the positive perspective that the Gottmans talk about. But I think that it's unrealistic to say, oh, you have to be in the positive perspective. No, that might be true. You should be in the positive perspective, but how do you get there?
I teach something. So like, for example, you know how I changed the love languages, right? And people get this all wrong, right? They give to get. They want their language met, right? And that's because, you're hyper focused on you, right? So what I teach, so if you're having trouble with this positive perspective that she's talking about, putting on these glasses, what I want you to do is think about what are the things that you want, exact opposite of what you're supposed to use the love languages for. You're supposed to just serve your partner with the love languages. Don't worry about yours. Just do your job. Okay. That's what it's for. But people twist it because they want what they want. Why don't you be a little bit more selfish for a second and think about, write down everything you want: respect, adoration. You want to be supported and lifted. You want to be edified. You want somebody to be grateful for you. By somebody, I mean your partner. So why don't you just take this big damn list that you come up with, and maybe some of you can keep it simple like those 5, okay? And then why don't you start delivering those 5? If you're ready for your next steps, go.morrowmarriage.com. Go.morrowmarriage.com. Join our app, join our men and women's communities, and let's go change your life. So now you give what you want, but don't do it with an expectation for something in return. This is why, because you need to lead. If your partner's not checked in, then you want the life and they don't. So there's only one option besides bitching, complaining, and crying about your life, which, by the way, is you are the problem, okay? Your life, okay? So if you don't see it, create it by leading and giving it, okay?
If you're not part of the solution,
you
are
fucking
the problem.
She's always so much more gentle.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. See you next time.
Bye.